So a statement has been issued by Hamas's leadership regarding how this ends. And here's what they had to say. This, I believe, is courtesy of Sky News.
Breaking news in the last hour. Hamas have issued a statement saying it will not disarm unless an independent Palestinian state is established. The statement came in response to some media reports in Israel quoting the US envoy Steve Witkoff about Hamas's laying down their arms. Let's have a look at that statement. Hamas has said in response to media reports quoting US envoy Steve Witkoff, claiming that the movement has shown willingness to disarm, we reaffirm that resistance and its arms are a legitimate national and legal right as long as the occupation continues. With that break,
I will say this, and this is one thing that was not mentioned in this clip, and I just want to be clear. The condition that Hamas has decreed that they will agree to this with an independent Palestinian state is if Jerusalem is the capital. So they're only doing it if Jerusalem is included. So what that tells me is this is not ending until the state of Israel is dissolved. That's it. I think it's pretty clear. There is no situation where, especially with what having the embassy move to Jerusalem. I mean, we all know that this in some ways is a holy war, but at the end of the day, it's all bullshit to me. I have no love for this shit. And frankly, I don't see it ending any other way. I think that Israel is going to continue to do what it's doing, which is creating enemies left and right. We all know that this situation is going to get so much worse because right now you've got both France and Canada, and there will be others that will, in 1 month from now, at the next UN summit, recognize a Palestinian state. I don't know if they're going to be drawing up borders or something like that, but just the fact that this statement is out there, that Hamas is saying, "Oh yeah, we'll stop. We're getting Jerusalem." Like that's how it's going to stop.
My thoughts are, all rationale left as soon as October 23rd end, when the Biden-Harris administration allowed this war to continue on.
Yeah.
My fear is that whatever remains of Gaza, it will be enough. There only will be a handful of survivors left. That's what I think we're going to see happen. I don't want to be negative here unless more people start speaking out, unless we see some true demonstrations, true shutdowns. If we see some people actually really do believe in their convictions and shut it all down, that's what we're going to witness. The bodies of the dead choke in this region. And I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm not saying like, oh, it can't happen. But the only way any kind of ceasefire is really going to happen is if people around the world actually do step up and take action. And that means us as people saying, okay, we're done. I'm done seeing this on my smartphone. I'm done seeing this on my laptop. I'm done seeing this on my TV. I'm done reading about it in the papers. I'm done listening to it on the radio. Enough is enough. Unless this truly does happen, all that will remain of the people of Gaza will be a huddled group hiding in the shadow of one tree. If we don't,
not leaving.
And I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm not saying anything cannot be done. I want to be clear on this. But unless people around the world are done seeing our inhumanity that we do to each other, this is not going to end. That's what I got to say here. I want to be more. If you talk to me 8 years ago, be like, yes, it can be done. Maybe I'm just too jaded. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't mean to make you more jaded, but we have to play this clip.
There is no policy of starvation in Gaza, and there is no starvation in Gaza.
I mean, if this fuckhead thinks that he can continue to talk like this, I mean, listen, I want to see him end up like Mussolini, probably as much as anybody. And I do think it's going to happen because I do think the walls are closing in on him, whether anyone really thinks that's what's happening or not.
Well, everyone forgets that before October 7th, this man had some problems with his government. Like his own people were his own government was going to fall apart. Were it not for this war, this man would be out of office right now. He had his wag the dog moment. That's the only reason why he's still there. Everyone forgets about all the domestic policy issues that were surrounding Netanyahu before October 2023.
Well,
everyone forgets.
To me, and when you talk like this, the only thing that really comes to mind is that, yeah, they organized October 7th. Like that was part of the plan.
Are you familiar with the New York Times article that came out sometime in 2024 talking about like the fact like, hey, yeah, the intel was actually trying to bring awareness to, hey, something's going to happen in October, and nobody ever acted on it?
Yeah, it's funny. They've often said that October 7th is their 9/11. You mean like 9/11 was an inside job here in the States? That was an inside job too? Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Dude, we were actually given a heads up to 9/11. It was even before, way before. Yeah. Are you familiar with the X-Files?
I didn't know that they did an episode that was.
Oh, no. It was a spinoff called The Lone Gunman. Remember Fox Mulder's friends, the three guys who were the lone gunmen?
I wasn't. Listen, I'll be honest. I mean, I was a big Simpsons guy, but even though X-Files came on after the Simpsons, I never really stuck around for it. I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't a big thing for me.
Okay, I will let you in on a little secret. So The Lone Gunman was the spinoff series of the X-Files, and this series came out in the year 2001, and they had their own little show. It was very interesting to see it because it came out in the year 2001, and its first episode came out on March 4th, called Pilot. While the lone gunmen are thwarted in their attempt to steal a computer chip, one of the characters receives news of his father's death. Soon the trio find themselves unraveling a government conspiracy concerning an attempt to fly a commercial aircraft into the World Trade Center, with increased arms sales for the United States as intended results. So let's see, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. That episode came out March 4th, 2001, about a plane flying into the World Trade Center.
I could still remember the plane that flew into the Corey Lytle, the guy who flew his, the plane that was on the Upper East Side of Manhattan in like June or July. And then when the first plane hit, I was like, did this shit happen again? But I could tell it was a commercial airliner. And then, of course, I saw the second plane, and the rest is history. But the point is, what we are learning is that there really is this Wizard of Oz type government that plays God behind the scenes. There's a great scene in Wall Street when Charlie Sheen confronts Michael Douglas in his office. But that whole scene, everyone talks about the greed is good scene. It's the scene after when Douglas explains to him how things really operate. He's like, price of upheaval, price of a paperclip, and everyone wonders how the hell we did it. Now, you're not naive enough to think we're living in a democracy, are you? It's a free market. But it's the truth. That was the truth. And that was told almost 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. Yep. And this is why a person like Netanyahu is able to operate like he's operating. But here is the response that continues from Democracy Now! In lieu of his response saying there is no starvation.
I just got back 2 days ago, and I spent about 3.5 weeks there, and primarily in the maternity hospital on the grounds of Nasser Hospital. And it was evident to me in my firsthand experience that what I was seeing was malnourishment in my patients, which were pregnant patients, but also those needing gynecologic care. And it was evident by the numbers of babies and their birth weight that was coming out, that they were being born to malnourished women. It was evident in the decreased ability to breastfeed when the newborns were born by the moms. And also in the way that pregnancies had complications that had increased in number, and remarkably so in the last few months of the siege. So there was ample evidence, just clinically by, numbers in cases of complications, by birth weights of babies, by preterm babies, and also just being able to look at our patients. It was very clear, in my experience and those I was working with, that this was really a starvation crisis that was occurring.
It's difficult to see that imagery because, I recently became an adoptive uncle, and I love seeing my little niece. I got a couple of messages from her. See, her parents are people I knew in college, so they're very close friends of mine. And I see her hold on a little present that I got her for the baby shower, and it's a little T-Rex toy. And I'm just thinking, what if that's her? Or what if those were my nephews and nieces when they were babies? It's you would think our Senate and House of Representatives would do the right thing. And I think maybe that's why there's still a little bit of shock amongst people. It's like they're expecting our leaders to do something. And then the uncomfortable truth is you got to do it. No. It's not that. It's just you watching at home. You got to do it. It's always been you. They're not the knights on the hill, these politicians. You're the knight on the hill.